guys, welcome to the channel. So going to be doing something a bit different today, something I've been wanting to do for a little while. Going to do a review of my daily Lexus RX450H 2011. Had the car getting on for a year now. Done about 15,000 miles in it. Basically didn't get used for 6 months during lockdown. 2020 at the moment, and yeah, so I just thought I'd do a little bit of a review. I know I find it very useful when searching for a car I want to buy. I always go on YouTube, try and find some people that have done used reviews, because a lot of the time all you can find is like what car and all that lot, doing reviews of the actual car itself when new, but not nothing to do with ownership. So anyway, I thought I'd do a little video. Before we get into it, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, so I've owned the car about a year, coming on for a year now. It's on 110,000 miles when I bought it, so not a particularly low mileage one. Say 2011 model. This one is an SEL. We'll get into that a little bit in a minute. But so I paid 9,500 for it, which was pretty good, I think. Slightly below average for the mileage and everything. Very clean bodywork. There's only one small door dent on this door, but other than that, the bodywork is pretty much mint. As for drive and everything like that, absolutely love it. I was a bit unsure. It's my first hybrid, first Lexus, everything like that. So a couple of years ago, I had a 4.4 full fat Range Rover, which I loved driving, but was a tad on the unreliable side. For the most part, it was pretty good. I did about 20,000 miles in it before anything major went wrong, but then the gearbox packed up, and that cost $2,500, and then its final demise was one of the cats blocked, and it basically melted a piston. So yeah, that was an unfortunate event. But anyway, I quite like my big cars. I like being able to have the ability to tow stuff. That was the main reason for having the Range Rover, so I could tow anything. But I'm sort of at the point, I was sort of looking for this, I was sort of at the point where I was sort of getting a bit fed up of just throwing money at cars, repairs, and it's all well and good buying a cheaper car and throwing a load of money at repairs and stuff, and it costs you the same, but it's all the hassle. It's the not having the car for 3 weeks while the gearbox being done, and it then just suddenly makes it not worthwhile. Anyway, yeah, so that's what my main comparison is going to be against our L22. L322 Range Rover 4.4 BMW V8. So yeah, this is a 3.5 litre petrol V6, which runs on the Atkinson cycle for efficiency. It puts out 250 brake horsepower, which isn't anything special for a 3.5 litre. But what it does have is 2 electric motors backing it up. So it's got one that also drives the front wheels, the V6 drives the front wheels, which is 167 horsepower, and then a secondary one drives the rear wheels, which is 67 horsepower. And so it is 4-wheel drive. start off, or if you're accelerating hard, it's four-wheel drive. If you get in a sticky situation, it's four-wheel drive, but it's not an off-roader by any means. It's not got selectable four-wheel drive or anything like that. The bonus with being four-wheel drive but not having engine drive to the rear wheels is there's no rear tunnel. So that means there's loads of leg room in the back, because that was one of the big things with the Range Rover. Is it was a big car, there was plenty of room, but if someone sat in the middle, if you had 5 adults, then it got a bit cramped leg-wise in the back. So that's a massive bonus. While I'm on the topic of back seats and room and everything, it's a very, very roomy car. I don't think it necessarily looks like it from the outside. This shape is very rounded. It can look quite small, but it's I'd say probably getting on par, certainly legroom wise, with the Range Rover. The one thing where it does lack is boot space, because it's got a sloped rear window. You do lose some of that boot space, but it is very versatile. You've got 40-20-40 split rear seats, so you can have any combination. The rear seats will recline and slide, so if you want to get some taller people in, you can slide the seats and recline the seats all the way back. If you want to get something big in the boot, you can slide them all the way forward. So it's really, really handy with that. The seats fold basically flat, completely flat, so when they're down you've got a very nice flat level for carrying stuff, which I do quite a lot, DIY and that. So front seats, the whole cabin is a very nice place to be. All looks very modern. The one thing that does let it down is the gear stick. It's got a very 90s Japanese gear stick with the sort of funny shaped gate and everything. But other than that, all the clocks really modern. Nice white dials with blue tint behind them. Really nice big screen in the middle. This one, being an SEL, has got heated and cool front seats, which is godsend in the UK, because a lot of the time, certainly with the leather, it's pretty cold in the mornings. I've gone for the cream leather. I'm not a fan of black leather. I find it too boring, and I'd much rather a coloured leather, even though with my job cream necessarily isn't the best idea, but it's white clean, so it's holding up very well. As I said earlier, this model is an SEL, which is the mid-range. There's an SEI, which is the base spec. SEL is the mid-range, and then there's either Premier or Premium. I can't remember. It is the top. There's slight differences between them. All come with the same engine, all come with the same power output, the same body styling, everything like that. It's not like the 2015 on where you can get an F Sport or anything like that. They all look the same. Only exterior differences are the SEL and Premier have LED headlights with cornering. So they've got basically three projector headlamps in each headlight. So you've got your dipped beam, your main beam, and then they've got auxiliary cornering lights as well, which is actually really, really handy and does work quite well, certainly on country roads like these at night. So yeah, the other differences are the SEL comes with air suspension, which is definitely I picked the SEL over a Premium because of the air suspension, and I'm glad I did. I use it an awful lot. It's got 4 settings. It's got normal mode, which is what we're driving in now, which is just your standard height, very comfy, very soft, eats up all the bumps, no problems at all. You get a little bit of body roll and stuff like that. I mean, it's never going to be a performance car. You can't throw it around corners, but you know, for a big 4x4, it holds its own very well. Handling is massively above the Range Rover. a high mode, so you can put it into high mode. I think that cuts out if you go above about 10 miles an hour, and then goes resets down to normal. That's just for, you know, rough terrain, if you're doing a little tiny bit of off-roading, driving across a grass car park or something like that. But that is useful at times. It's got a low mode, which is what I whenever I'm sitting on the motorway, I always put it in low mode, or if I'm doing a little bit of slightly spirited driving on some country roads, I'll just put it in low. It just firms it up a little bit, reduces the drag ever so slightly. I mean, it's probably talking next to nothing, but it just makes it hunker down a little bit more. And then the last one is a loading mode. So there's a button in the boot that you can press, and it will lower the suspension right down as low as it will go, for ease of getting stuff in that boot, which is really handy if you're lifting heavy stuff in. Really, really good. As I say, the ride is so smooth. I've just put new tyres on this, gone for the Toyo Proxys, had Bridgestones on before, they perished quite bad, so I've got some brand new Toyo Proxys, very, very quiet in the cabin, you sort of, yeah, just really nice, smooth, quiet car. Just go back to the air suspension again, the low mode, the one thing it does, there's a couple of little things here and there that annoy me, and I think they fixed on the later models. So the air suspension in low mode, in the Range Rover, if you sit above 60 miles an hour for more than 30 seconds, it automatically hunkers down and goes into low mode. This doesn't, you have to do it manually. It's a little tiny thing, it's not a problem, but it's just one of those things. It would be a bit better if maybe it did it automatically. Doesn't have one-touch indicators, which baffles me beyond belief. My other car, I've got a 2003 BMW 5 Series, that has one-touch indicators. Why a 2011 car didn't, and they didn't introduce it in 2015. You can buy modules that do it for you, but it's not really worth it. So yeah, so the cabin's very nice. The infotainment system is unreal. This has got the Mark Levinson 15 speaker system, which is absolutely brilliant. It's got a subwoofer in the boot. Every now and then you'll put a carrier bag up against it and regret it, but other than that, it's absolutely superb. I'll even go as far as saying it's better than Audi's Bose sound system. The bass and sound you get from this sound system is unbelievable, and you just don't get any distortion. It really is impressive. The maps, this being a 2011 car, a little bit out of date. You can get updated maps for them, but Google Maps is so good now, it's just not really worth it. I think you're probably looking at sort of at least 100 quid for a map, for sort of 2020 map, assuming you can get one that new. But you know, it'll get you out of trouble, it'll get you to all the main roads, and it's very good for what it is for a 2011 car. So it's got Bluetooth, hands-free, all that sort of stuff. You know, all cars of this ilk came with stuff like that. You can play Spotify and other sounds through your speakers, which is really good, and it works seamlessly. So if you've got it set on Bluetooth, like if you listen to, say I was listening to music now, I then turn the car off, get out, get it back in it the next day, and it straight away opens up Spotify on your phone, starts playing from where you left off. It's absolutely seamless. The phone system on it, hands-free system, is very, very good as well. You can import your contacts, so you can very easily navigate to anything you need, anyone you want to call. The calls are crisp, clear. Quite regularly do a lot of calls when driving in this. It's just so easy. and when you speak to the person on the other end, they haven't got a clue you're in a car. They just think you're on a normal phone, which is always a bonus because sometimes that can be a bit iffy. It's got some pretty cool features in the system itself. You can set reminders, so obviously you have all the standard service reminders and stuff like that. You can set mileage, dates, all that sort of stuff. You can set your own custom reminders for stuff. You can set reminders for when to rotate tyres. You can set reminders for automatic transmission fluid, which isn't recommended as part of their thing, but they allow you to put a thing in for it. Again, any automatic transmission or non-manual transmission, the oil should be changed before 100,000 miles, regardless of what manufacturers say. And the screen I always have it on is the hybrid screen, so that tells you where the power is coming from that you're using, the level of the battery, and everything like that. It's just, a lot of people say they don't like it. I find it really useful. I find it very, very useful tool for trying to drive as efficiently as possible. I didn't buy this car to be an eco warrior at all. If I'd have done that, I would have bought an all-electric car or bought a Prius or something boring like that. I bought this because I like big cars, but I don't like the running cost and reliability. So this is a very, very good compromise. And as I say, in the year I've owned it, I've been massively, massively impressed. The performance is second to none for this kind of vehicle. Fuel economy is good. So normally it varies, as with all cars, it varies between summer and winter. During summer, so half my journey is motorway and half of it's country roads, I'll average 35 to the gallon, which is for a car of this size is very, very good, certainly with petrol. And around town, if you're able to use the battery quite a lot, you'll get upwards of 44 to the gallon. On a run, if you're doing sensible speeds, sort of 65-70, you'll get 37 to the gallon out of it. This is one of those weird cars that will do better miles to the gallon around town than it will on a run, just because of the hybrid system. The hybrid system works better there. And while we're on the topic of the hybrid system, so it's got a CVT gearbox, which I was very unsure of to begin with when looking at them, and that I'd never driven a CVT. I'd heard horror stories about some of the Audi CVTs, some of the old Ford CVTs, everything like that. But this is a very, very clever system, and it's very simple, which is one thing I like because there's less to go wrong. So this doesn't use any belts or chains or anything like that, like a lot of the other systems use, and this also doesn't have gears programmed into it as such. So the Audi CVT you find in the A6s, all that sort of stuff, that tries to fake being a proper gearbox by mapping in gears, which in turn makes it less efficient. The whole idea of a CVT is to not have individual gears, and therefore not, it just makes it more efficient. So yeah, very simple, works very, very well. There is a sport mode you can put it in, and you can cycle through some numbers on the dash in sport mode, 1 to 6, but they do absolutely nothing. You can accelerate, you can pull away in what it calls 6th, no problem at all, and you can drive in 3rd, and the revs are the same, the power's the same. It's good. The power delivery is so smooth, it's unbelievable. So when you're full chat, you hear the noise of the engine, which I like. You know, it's a V6. I like to be able to hear it. I like the sound of cars. You know, that's what my passion is. So to be able to hear the nice V6 up front, and it's got quite incredible overtaking power. It just, because you've got that CVT, it's just so smooth. There's no waiting for it to down change or anything like that. It just goes, and the acceleration is just constant. It really is impressive. So that's one thing I really liked about it, and one of the things I didn't like about the Range Rover and other automatics is, as I say, half my journey is country roads. You'd be going down the country road and you come up to a sharp corner or whatever, you'd slow down, you then come out of the sharp corner, put your foot down, you'd be in the wrong gear, it'd then kick down 2 gears and then it'd go, and then you'd be going way too fast. It was just horrendous. I absolutely hated it, and I always prefer a manual, but they don't do these in manual, so CVT is the only thing available in this, and have to say, with its overall drivability, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I don't think it would make a good driver's car necessarily. I still think manual is better for a driver's car, but for a cruiser and just a daily drive, it's just so easy. You just don't have to think about anything. The power is there instantly when you want it. It is just very impressive. So power figures I mentioned earlier, so you've got the 250 horsepower for the engine, 167 for the motor thereabouts, and 67 for the rear. Despite that, the overall power figure is only 300 horsepower. That's to do with how much energy can be supplied to the motors at the same time as the engine running and everything. It's all to do with the inverter and maximum power of everything running together, basically. But I mean, 300 horsepower, that's still pretty impressive. It's more than the 4.4 Range Rover, and as such, the acceleration is better. Funnily enough, other than the LC and the big 5-litre performance Lexuses, this is the fastest Lexus, which I find baffling. So you can get this engine in this period of car, you can get it in the GS, which is about the same. But if you look at current models, they still use this engine, putting out 313 horsepower, so they've upped it slightly. But that engine is not used in anything else. It's not used in any of their sporty, whatever they are, GSs or any of the IS Sports or anything like that. You either get a 2.5 litre petrol hybrid in those, or the Big Daddy V8. There's no in between, which I find very weird. I think this engine and hybrid combo would be fantastic in a smaller saloon car. I think that would be, it really would. Like the GS450H, a modern version of that I think would be fantastic. So yeah, overall, I'd say very impressed with it. Its power is just instant. It's not the fastest thing in the world by any means. But it will easily keep up with diesel saloons and stuff like that. No problem at all. And overtaking, it really is impressive. So I think that's probably, I guess I'd touch a bit on reliability. So I've touch wood, not had any problems at all with it. It's had full Lexus service history when I got it. I've had a service done by Lexus, had the MOT done, had hybrid check done by Lexus as well. I'm now going to get this serviced independently or service it myself, just because the age of the car, the cost of the car, and it's just verging on the point of not being worth it anymore. So my plan is to keep this car for at fair, Lexus servicing is pretty reasonable for this type of car. I think I paid £300 for an intermediate service, but its service that it needs next is a Big Daddy 120,000 mile service. So it's literally everything. It's brake fluid, coolant on both engine and inverter, literally the whole lot. So it's gonna, I think that came in at about £700 or £800, which, you know, is reasonable, and I'd do if the car was going to still be worth 10 grand, but that's not going to be money added for value to the car, so it's just not worth it. One thing I will say about the hybrid system though, which I'm hugely impressed with Lexus. So when I bought the car, Lexus policy on their hybrid systems was 10 years or 100,000 miles, 10 years. So this was just over that, but you know, it had been looked after, so it's okay. Then when I bought the car, they upped it to 10 years or 150,000 miles, which then suddenly meant this was still in warranty, which was great, but it'd only be in warranty for another year. But you know, years, nothing to sniff at. But they have now just in the last 6 months, they've updated it again, and it's now unlimited time, 150,000 miles. No, wrong way around, sorry. Unlimited mileage, 15 years. So that means this, being a 2011 car, has got another 6 years, well, it's probably 5.5 years, of warranty left on the hybrid system. The only condition with that is that you have every 10,000 miles or every year you have a hybrid inspection done by Lexus. This service costs 60 quid. They'll do a full valet on the car as well, and it is also included in services. So you don't pay that if you're having a service done by them, that is automatically done and included. So on the last one I've paid for it to maintain the warranty, and they basically just check through all the hybrid system, check through all the cells, everything like that, make sure everything's normal. If it's all normal, then you get a pass certificate, and that means your warranty is valid for another 10,000 miles or year, whatever comes soonest. So yeah, overall, massively impressed. I'm going to end the video now because I'm basically at home. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope it hasn't been too boring, and hope some people have got some useful information out of it. As I said, I use these sort of videos an awful lot when it comes to picking a car, and you know, I would 100% recommend one of these to anyone. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much for watching, and if this gets a good response, then maybe I'll do some more videos. So yeah, thank you very much.